Hello, I'm Andrew White, Associate Editor at the Australian newspaper. I'm here talking with Mark Ryan, the Chief Executive of Tassal, for the Critical Issues series. Mark, there's been a lot of discussion about Australia's role as a potential food bowl for the region. It's focused mostly on the grains and livestock industry. Are we overlooking the potential of aquaculture?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Australia and in particular Tasmania for us is surrounded by a lot of water, and that gives us a great opportunity from an aquaculture point of view to grow in a sustainable way. Obviously everyone's well aware of growing populations on a global basis and the need for food to feed people going forward. So I think with all that, there is a terrific opportunity for aquaculture. It's a very new industry for Australia, not so new for the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. And I think if we set it up properly, there's some really great opportunities to really move forward and to really embrace and develop that food bowl concept.
Mm. And you're based in probably Australia's best known green state. There is, and probably its fastest growing company. Can you talk us through a little bit about the issues around developing and maintaining a social licence for a business like your own to operate there?
Yeah, look, we're a very visual industry in terms of we've got nets and pens that are very close to where people have either holiday retreats or their primary residence but they're looking for a quieter lifestyle. So for us to operate in those areas, we have to be acutely aware of those things and develop our company and our brand with very much building that social license concept in mind. Given it is a green state and given you've got a lot of people that could quite easily point fingers at whether rubbish ends up on beaches or whatever, it's all come from the fish farms. We're quite visual with our reporting, so we make sure that we take people on community trips there. In terms of Tassie, tourism's a big part of the Tasmanian economy. We encourage the tourism operators to stop by and watch the fish being fed, and so we get everyone to embrace what we're doing rather than being seen as a negative. Really turn what we do into a positive in terms of an experience from not just an aquaculture perspective but also with tourism.
Yeah, and I guess the green reputation of the state probably does help in terms of being able to market your product as coming from a clean, environmentally friendly sort of environment.
Oh, definitely. The industry started pretty much with just supplying Japan, which are the most discerning fish eaters on a global basis, and the reason why they chose Tasmania to start the industry was because of the clean green image, and we've had to maintain that clean green practice, and that has really stood us in great stead from getting premium prices in the global market, and then have transferred that out into the domestic market in terms of growing that domestic market into obviously an excellent food source. Everyone understands the compelling food properties of salmon in terms of omega-3 and the like. So for us, it is about maintaining that clean green image and the sustainable image of salmon growing.
Mm. You've recently undertaken an expansion into Macquarie Harbour in cooperation with Petuna and Huon. Can you tell us a little bit more about that program? What's it about?
Yeah, to give people an idea of the size, Macquarie Harbour is probably 4 times the size of Sydney Harbour, so it's quite a significant body of water. And for us around there, it's our cheapest place with which we can farm fish, and the cost of growing around there is global cost best practice. So for us, it's a fantastic environment to farm fish in. It gives us a competitive advantage in terms of it being so cheap, and it's in an area within Tasmania that has really struggled in terms of getting industries to come in and invest and employ people. So it ticks a lot of boxes for the state, and it ticks a lot of boxes for us as a company moving forward.
And how do you manage the relationship with your two competitors there?
Yeah, look, it is interesting. I guess in Tassie you're physically quite close. You do tend to bump into each other, and we have leases that are only 3 kilometres apart from one another, so our employees are always getting together. Usually the biggest employers in the town, so there's obviously a bit of healthy rivalry that happens in most of the rural and regional areas in which we farm. So I guess that, the good thing about all of that is that we can ensure that the industry is put on a sustainable footing and that everyone is managed on a sustainable basis moving forward. And I think that keeps that clean green, not just perception going, but it is a reality at the end of the day. So that if we can all adopt best management, best fish husbandry practices, that gives us a massive competitive advantage on a global basis for the entire industry.
Yeah. We've also had a lot of discussion recently about Australia maybe needing a more focused agricultural policy and perhaps even a Ministry of Food. I'm just wondering how the regulation issues fit in with you or affect you rather, and whether there's enough coordination between the state and federal governments on matters of food policy.
Yeah, just talking for our industry first, there's been a really good degree of dialogue between the state and federal governments and each of the companies, and which has given us a clear roadmap on what we can and can't do and how we're to proceed moving forward. I think a Ministry of Food would be a great thing to move forward with. I think the thing that we need to do as Australia is really find out those foods that are going to give us a competitive advantage, that we're not just dealing in a commodity sake. With the salmon there is a price premium for that clean green and image, so there's no point in focusing on food items that we can't get that competitive advantage from, because our cost of doing business in Australia is generally higher than most other nations. So, and for example, Chile with the amount of money they need to pay for employment is significantly lower than what Australians can do. And I think then leading into that is the flexibility around working arrangements. We are farmers at the end of the day. There's not a 9 to 5 program that either fish or other proteins or vegetables tend to follow. So they're ready when they're ready, and so you've got to have a workforce that has flexibility to go and do what it needs to do without paying double time for every time you want to go out and actually do something on your farm.
And you've also got in a situation where you've got an increasing trend in Australia of a supportive major shareholder coming onto the register. You're lucky to have a couple of them in Orbis and Pacific Andes. Are they Pacific Andes in particular is described, I think, as the world's largest fishing company?
Yep.
Are they bringing you specific sort of operational or technical skills and helping you get into other markets, or how's that relationship working?
Yeah, we have one of the Pacific Andes senior management sitting on our board, and I guess the biggest thing they bring for us is a strategic vision on what is happening from a global perspective in terms of seafood generally. They've been incredibly supportive with the initiatives that we've made in terms of growing our product and growing it in a clean green manner. They see the benefits of our relationship with WWF and the sustainability angle that brings for us. And so equally, I think they see some massive advantages of being a shareholder of us, and for us it's about that strategic vision of what's happening from a global basis. One of their biggest operations is around fish meal and fish oil, and they're primary components to our feed. So it's great to get an understanding of what's happening in that particular industry and what are the developments in terms of substitution for fish meal and fish oil and the like, so that we can really plot a sustainable future moving forward.
Okay. Mark, we'll look forward to your progress.